Welcome back to Chit Chat with Chels.
And Jesse. Chelsea doesn't like me very much right now.
I don't.
She sounded funny when she tried to introduce the podcast, so I just hit the stop button.
And he made me restart.
It was 5 seconds of your time. You'll be fine.
Uh-huh.
Uh-oh.
Anyway.
Anywho.
How's your week so far? I mean, it's only Tuesday, but still.
It is only Tuesday. Not so bad. I caught my biggest crappie ever that I've ever even seen out of the ice, out of a place I've been fishing for quite a while. Huge success for me. I didn't go viral on the post or any of the videos, but it got a ton of interactions. My Facebook hit over 100,000 people in one day. That post in itself made like $30, which is pretty cool. I went out today to another private pond and caught some huge bluegill. Didn't really get any footage out of that. I might have caught like one or two on film, but it was like, I don't know, 40-mile-an-hour winds today, and it sucked. Like, it was almost pushing me over in the chair.
Well, I was nice and warm in my office.
I wasn't really cold.
Yeah, well, I wasn't having to deal with wind.
Okay, well, this is how this fucking conversation's going to go. Jeez. How was your fucking week?
I feel like my uterus is trying to kill me. He almost spit out his coffee.
I didn't think you were just going to say that on the podcast.
I don't care.
Clearly.
I 100% feel like it's trying to put me in the grave early this month.
Jeez.
It's not good. That's
extreme. Should we tell the folks about our weekend?
Yeah. So we went for an ice fishing weekend. And weren't able to do any ice fishing. We tried.
It failed about as quickly as it started. So we went to Clear Lake, Iowa. Obviously, there's a lake there.
Huge.
If you're not aware. So I've been up there a couple times in the past. It's always good fishing. There's some shallow spots in the weeds, and if you put your hut up on the right conditions, you can see down a couple feet to the bottom, and you can sight fish, which is awesome. I thought Chelsea would love that. So we went out there. We got there Friday evening. We stopped at the hotel, went to a pretty cool store that she's never been to, that I've been to before.
Went and grabbed some food.
Yep. Grabbed dinner, then rested in the hotel room all night. Got up in the morning, went and grabbed a fishing license for her and perused the bait shop for a little bit. Got some insight on maybe where to go. And it was probably 25, 30 degrees outside with 40-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be that windy when we initially checked.
No. So we got out to the spot. I set the hut on the ground, which normally you would pop the hut up and then anchor it down. But I'm like, well, it's windy enough that I'll just try to anchor the wind side down first. And immediately when I started to drill it, the anchor is like a T-handle screw. So I have an attachment for my drill. You can just run it down into the ice. But immediately I snapped off one of the clips to my anchor points. So I couldn't anchor right there. That just immediately pissed me off. I'm just trying to get in the hut, get Chelsea warm. Because
I'm standing outside the whole time holding the hut so it doesn't blow away.
I want her to have a good time doing this. I don't want her to be, frozen and miserable. So I'm doing my best. I get the hut put up. I get the other three sides anchored down. I cut a hole in the one anchor strap that I broke and drilled that in. And then we get inside the hut. We didn't even have the heater on.
No, we didn't even get the heater out of the sled.
No, I grabbed my drill and I drilled a hole, and the wind side of the hut, which I have a square hut, it just kept blowing in.
So I'm standing there holding it with my butt.
Yeah, so Chelsea's trying to calm me down, and she's like, hey, if like it's not that bad outside, if we just have our backs to the wind, we'll try and fish. I'm like, okay. So we tear the hut down, get it put back in the bag, and Chels grabs my scoop out of the sled and takes a step towards the hole.
And I falls
on
my knees.
On her knees with her elbow all the way into the hole. So she's soaked now. She dropped my scoop to the bottom of the lake.
He has a new one on the way.
Yep. And then, so at that point, I'm like, no, we have to go. Like, I can't have her out here with a frozen arm, super windy. I'm like, just to hell with it. I'm like, let's go. So we're packing up the rest of the shit. And
top to the auger.
Yep. The cover to my auger catches a wind and goes barreling across the lake. Luckily,
I can't chase after it.
Yeah, we both tried to go after it. This is like the slickest ice I've ever stood on. Luckily, someone was driving their vehicle across the lake, and they stopped and picked it up for us and brought it back.
And then when I turn around, Jesse is flat on his back.
Yeah, I had taken a step to grab something else, and both of my feet came out from under me. I landed flat on my back.
And then he manned everything all the way back to the car.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been so pissed off trying to ice fish before. But it still ended up not a bad weekend. We spent the rest of the day in the hotel room. We both took naps. Woke up, decided to sign up for Paramount. We watched Landman.
That was a really good show.
Yep. And then Sunday morning, we went and had breakfast at Perkins, and then we went to a bookstore in Mason City.
3 Bells Books.
Yeah, awesome little place. You tell them about that.
Amazing. It's not a huge bookstore, but it has a really, really good variety. Like, Jesse found 5 books. I found 5 books. They have a room that's all either discounted books or used books. And then they have like a little bar in there. So there's like wine and soda and stuff that you can get. They have couches in another little area. Like, it is
I think you can get food
amazing.
in there too, can't you?
No, it's just the drinks.
You couldn't get like chips or nothing?
I don't know. Oh, there might have been chips. I didn't pay attention to that.
Oh, well.
We spent a good hour in there.
Yeah.
I would say about an hour in there perusing and finding stuff. Spent way too much money, but if you're ever in that area, you guys should totally check it out. I absolutely love it. I would literally take a 3.5-hour trip just to go back there.
Right. So it's 3 Bells Books in Mason City,
Iowa. Yep. So cool.
And what, the one thing that I really liked about it is like, so we've been in some different bookstores before, and like some of them are small, but like cramped.
Very.
And it's like a maze going through there. This place was very well laid out. Everything was organized.
Yeah.
It was very clean.
It felt very open. And she even had like products in there, like tote bags and candles and socks and coffee mugs. And like she had all of that stuff in there. And it did not feel like that.
No, it was.
And they have a total, if you guys have kids, at the very back around the corner, they had an entire kids area for their books and stuff. A lot of the people that I watched come in had kids, and it looked like they had a pretty good variety for the kids section as well. I definitely got some of my romance novels, 2 that I've been looking for, and she had them, which was insane.
Yeah, and they got a pretty good deal on like trading books in.
Yeah, if you live in that area, it's a really cool thing that you can go in and unless it's like a brand new book basically like that just came out or what did she say, like a
paperback?
Paperbacks are like $2 that she gives, and then hardbacks are like 3 or 4, and it goes on an account and you can use it at any point in time. And you can only do so many per day, but you can donate every single day.
Yeah.
Or sell every single day.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool little place. I mean, really, like, honestly, out of all the bookstores that I've been in, it was like one that I would actually sit and read in.
Yeah,
like,
it was very cozy.
Yeah, there was music playing in the background, but it wasn't like overwhelming. There wasn't a
No.
whole bunch of people that came in there. You know, because like we have some bookstores in the area that they get busy.
Yeah,
and they're
like
loud.
Barnes and Noble and stuff. Like I could never sit there and read.
No,
Like,
but this place was, like you said, very homey, very
it was
clean, and
I would definitely go back for sure.
also what I have to say that I like this. It's a very minuscule thing, but the fact that she gave us each a couple of bookmarks.
Yeah,
That's
you
pretty
never
cool.
get that. And like there's so many times that I'm like, crap, I don't have a bookmark. Like luckily I have a couple now just cuz stuff that I got for Christmas, but I was using receipts. And depending on how many books you were getting, she gave me a couple bookmarks, gave Jesse a bookmark, like and she was so nice. So nice. Like just offering information, asking if we were looking for anything, but also just letting us look around, read the backs of books, doing all the things that we do, let us like leave the stuff up at the register. Like she was just very, very sweet.
Yeah, it was a cool place.
It was very cool. So if you're ever in that area, definitely check it out.
Yep. Once again, Three Bells Books in Mason City, Iowa.
Yes, I couldn't remember which town it was in. That's why I let him say that. But now that we've caught everybody else up on our lives. Sorry, my microphone was loose.
Yeah, don't let it fall off on you. Like
No, I've watched Jesse do that. We're not going to do that.
Mine's tight.
Today, the theme is going to be...
You didn't really have a theme, I thought.
I came up with a theme while I was putting it together.
Oh, she's a crafty one.
No contact.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like that.
Except for one, and one doesn't really go with the theme, but I thought it was funny, so we're definitely going to put that in here.
Let's just do that one first.
The way that I have it set up, we can't.
Okay, then.
Okay, then. This one is from r/best of Redditor updates. An update 1 year later. So the update will be 1 year after the original post. The update was posted about 5 months ago. So the original was posted about 1.5 years ago. I'm rethinking having a child with my wife because what I found out about her dad. Am I the asshole?
Oh, boy.
Trigger warnings. Child abuse, child sexual abuse, and abuse. So if you guys can't handle that, totally understand. Just skip to the next story. My wife, 32 female, and I, 30 male, have been married for 2 years and are trying for a baby. Jessica has an older sister, Mary, that she isn't close to. She told me that they had a huge falling out over some family drama and just don't speak anymore. I asked a few times about the entire situation, but she would say she doesn't like talking about it and doesn't think it's important. It was Jessica's brother's birthday yesterday, and we were all over at his house to celebrate. Mary made an appearance, and there was a lot of drama. Long story short, she called Jessica and her brother out for still associating with their dad when they know that he is a child molester. No one was paying her any mind, and I was really confused on what the hell was going on. When Mary left and Jessica and I went home, I asked Jessica what the hell happened. She said that when they were kids, Mary used to claim that her dad used to molest her. I asked if it's true, and Jessica was stuttering a lot. She said she knows her dad used to do bad things, but that Mary cut them all off when she turned 18 and moved out. I asked if she is admitting that she knows her dad was a child molester and did things to his own daughter. She said he doesn't do it anymore, and he was just in a really bad place in his life, and he apologized to Mary, so there's nothing else anyone can do for Mary. I was honestly appalled. I also feel so terrible for Mary. Jessica made it seem like Mary did something wrong and deserved to be basically exiled from the family. I could have never imagined that this is what happened. I asked if she expects me to now be willing to have that man around our future children, and she started shouting at me, saying I'm judging him off something that happened 2 decades ago, and whether I like it or not, he is going to be our child's grandpa, and he will be in our lives. I said, if she insists on it, I think we need to hold off on having kids and have serious conversations about it. She's extremely angry at me, but I don't know how I could better react, to be honest. This feels like a huge deal that she is minimizing. Am I the asshole?
I think his concerns are legit.
I'd be concerned.
Yeah, I mean, they're like, you you know full well that this happened.
Right.
So be it 20 years ago. If it was anyone else, there's like a registry for these things.
Yeah, well, it doesn't seem like her family believed her or gave it any thought. Like, she cut everybody off.
Right.
When she turned 18 and moved out. There's a reason for that.
Absolutely.
People didn't take her seriously. And that's the thing, is the reason that so much of this stuff happens in this world. Don't get me wrong. It's not just everybody's fault. It's the people who are doing it's fault. However, people who are like making it okay. Oh, having a bad time in your life. No, fuck you. You're disgusting. You need to go to prison.
Yeah. That's
And I'm sorry, her sister.
Right.
The fact that she's having that she acts this way about her sister, she is lucky it wasn't her.
Yeah,
and absolutely. I don't want to say that she is lucky because, like, obviously it's still a family thing. Like, this still happened.
Right.
But it could have been her.
Yeah, that's a very serious thing.
And then to keep it from your husband.
Right. I think that his concerns are 100% justified.
What if they have a girl?
That's exactly what I was thinking. As soon as you read that line, I'm like, fuck.
What if they have a girl? He's not going to feel comfortable leaving that child with him.
Right.
And I wouldn't either. Ever.
God.
Okay. Relevant comments. Not the asshole and run. Please talk to someone from RAIN. They are an organization for victims of sexual assault. This is not something minor like occasionally being crabby with your kids on the mornings you have a migraine. This is crime. I know a victim of child abuse, and many years later and thousands of dollars in therapy, this woman is still hurting. You need to get out now. OP responded and said, I wish I could accurately describe how Mary looked and sounded when she was going off on her siblings that day. It actually sent shivers down my spine. She looked so angry but so defeated at the same time. All while they were all looking at her like she was crazy. I still can't wrap my head around it. I want to reach out to her and check if she's all right, but I don't know how appropriate that will be.
I don't know if it would be inappropriate.
I think if he was just like, hey, I didn't know.
Yeah, like, obviously there's a way to set up that conversation.
Yeah.
And if honestly you want to have that conversation, maybe nobody else has ever had that conversation with her.
Well, and especially if everybody's looking at her like she's crazy.
Right.
Like, this stuff doesn't just go away because it's been years.
Right.
Those scars are still there.
Absolutely.
Another comment, not the asshole. Someone who has glossed over child molestation, would she have to leave a future child of yours with grandpa for the night? That's chilling. And once you have kids, even if you divorced her for this later, you couldn't get full custody over this. If grandpa never went to prison for it and isn't a convicted sex offender, it's awful all the way around. I can't believe you've been married for 2 years before you even hear this story. OP responds, that's exactly what I was thinking. He never went to prison, never been reported to the police at all, and there's no proof of what he did, so I would have no case and no power to keep him away from our children. I don't want to feel helpless in what happens to my children. I don't want to fail them like that. I don't think I should even have them with her at any point now that this is all has come to light.
Well, especially with her being the way that she's being. Because it sounds to me like she just doesn't understand where he's coming from at all.
Right. Which is insane. Like, how do you not have any empathy for your sister?
Right.
And what she's going through
or
and what she's gone through.
Or for your future children.
Right. Commenter responded and said, I bet she did everything she could to hide this from him their whole relationship. OP says, I think this is a huge part of why I'm so angry at her. She had so many opportunities to tell me there are instances where she had to have actively gone out of her way to keep this entire thing from me. And if Mary hadn't shown up to their brother's birthday party, I would have still been in the dark, which is absolutely terrifying because then I feel like then he's kind of baby trapped because if she got pregnant without him having the full scope of all the information,
right.
like, that's fucked. Mm-hmm. That's fucked.
Jesus.
Okay. All right. Update. It says 11-ish months later. So this update was posted September 5th, 2024. It's been nearly a year since my initial post, so I thought I would give an update. A few days after my original post, I sat Jessica down and told her how I was feeling. I told her I'm not okay with what she and her family have done to Mary. They know what their dad had done to her, but still chose to take his side and make Mary look crazy. I told her I'm also not okay with brushing her father's crimes under the rug. She was quiet and didn't say anything. She didn't try to defend herself or her family. She was just staring at me in a very chilling way, almost like she was indifferent to whatever I had to say and just wanted it to be over. I told her I needed time to myself and I would leave and think about what I wanted to do. Suddenly, she was paying attention. She seemed shocked and panicked. She started begging me not to leave, saying I'll get over it in a few days when we get back to how we usually are and things settle down. She said all families have skeletons in their closet and that this can't define our marriage. I said no, and I left the house for a few days. I ignored all her calls and those of her family. I reached out to Mary on Facebook. I wrote her a lengthy message about how I had no idea all she had been through and that I'm so sorry for how her family treated her. I told her to reach out to me if she ever needs anything. She got back to me and asked if we could meet for coffee. We met up the day after. At first it was small talk, and then she asked if I would be okay if she told me her version of events. I said of course I would, and she spoke to me about it. Everything her dad did and how her family treated her after she told them. I felt physically sick. She even told me stories about how Jessica told her friends that Mary has a mental condition that causes hallucinations and that just in case Mary starts rumors about their family, that's why. A lot of people still believe Mary has a mental condition because of Jessica.
Wow.
I knew after that talk that I had to end things with Jessica. I went over to our house and told her I want a divorce. I told her I cannot stand the thought of being her husband and a part of their disgusting family. All she did was cry and ask, all this for her? I knew then that she hadn't changed. She was still the same person that did all of those things to Mary, and she was still doing them. We're still not officially divorced, but we haven't been together since. And we are going through the process. It's just taking longer than I thought to get it finalized. Mary and I have become friends. I invited her to a birthday dinner at my family were hosting for me, and she hit it off with my cousin. He's crazy about her, and he seems really happy with him too. She seems really happy with him too. He kept asking me if it would be too early to propose, and I have to tell him not to scare her away, LOL. But they have a really wholesome relationship, and I'm really happy for them. As for me, I'm just surviving. Divorces are tough, but I know I made the right choice. Thank you to everyone that responded and gave me advice. I really appreciate it.
Well, good for him for sticking to his guns.
Yeah. And the fact that she said all this for her.
Yeah, that kind of fucking.
You have no remorse for what you did.
Right.
And you're going to spread rumors about her having a mental illness?
That's your sister.
To hide your father's crimes?
Yeah,
like, I understand that you don't choose your family. You don't choose that. I totally understand that. But pick the right side.
Right.
And she didn't do that. And she made her sister look crazy. But the fact that her sister is now in a good, healthy, wholesome relationship.
Yeah, that's cool.
Is amazing. And you know it's with a good family because it's his family. So he knows, like.
Well, and I think it's kind of a win for both parties here, OP and
Mary,
yeah. Because, you know, if this wouldn't have happened, then she wouldn't be in a relationship with this guy. Mm-hmm. OP might be trapped in a terrible situation, you know.
That's rough. Top comment. I disowned a huge chunk of extended family because they chose to cover up some horrible shit like this. I wasn't the victim, but I sure as hell wasn't allowing any of them near my family. Exactly. Like, I don't understand where this becomes okay.
Right. Yeah, it's shocking, honestly.
Like,
Hello,
Kitty. My goodness. There's just a lot of people sharing their stories.
I'm sure.
There is no way that the soon-to-be ex was going to protect her kids from her dad. So glad OP got out of there. I feel terrible for any of her future kids.
Yeah, it's crazy because if she made all these rumors about her sister, what would she do for her kids, you know?
Right.
Let's say she's got a daughter. She's 5 years old. Something, God forbid, something
unthinkable happens.
Yeah. Say something does. Well, then, you know.
Oh, she's crazy like my sister.
Yeah.
That's fucked.
Yeah, good job for escaping that.
Yeah. OP was brilliant to exit so early. Many people don't heed the first warning signs and regret it all their life.
Mm-hmm.
Because he can find someone else.
Yeah. You can always find somebody else.
What the fuck did I read now? All families have skeletons. This is not a skeleton. This is a whole fucking cemetery.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oops. Sorry about that. I just hit my coffee cup on the bottom of my mic.
Okay, so this next one is the one that doesn't really have anything to do with the whole thing. We went from really heavy to not heavy at all. So I just want to kind of lighten the mood just a little bit here. And Jesse's going to read this one.
Alrighty. Ooh, nice. I get to read one from Petty Revenge.
I thought you'd like that.
What in the fuck is this title? Oh my god, my best friend's dog robbed a drug dealer. I like that.
You.
I like that. Okay. So a long time ago, 7 or 8 years back, me and my friend was rooming together at a really ghetto apartment complex with a high crime rate in the city. We kept to ourselves because of all this. All of the drug dealers would leave their doors open for the better part of the day, having people come in and out buying drugs constantly. One time, my friend's dog ran outside and we couldn't see where he went. That is until he ran out of one of the dealer's apartments with a giant ball of crack. About 10 minutes later, the guy came running outside looking around. Guess he was in the shower or something. I actually knew this guy. A few months prior to this event, he had cussed me out over something dumb and we almost threw down. I guess the dog knew about it. Oh well, as hard as this is to believe, it happened. The dog was a little bastard, but we love him, especially after this. That's fucking awesome. So, top comment was, what happened to the ball of crack?
Oh, hey, that's a good question.
The OP responded and says, well, his girlfriend at the time was pretty against any kind of drugs. The only reason we were all staying there is because of how ridiculously cheap it was. So we did what any responsible adult would do and smoked it before she got home. We got sick, though, and the next day we felt like shit and pretty much had a mutual understanding that we wouldn't touch it again.
Well, then he ended up with fucking karma.
That's crazy. I can't believe there's no more comments on that. That's from
How
5
long?
years ago.
Oh, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a pretty short story.
Yeah. But that's
I thought it was funny.
Yeah. Good puppy.
Yes, very good puppies. I mean, they definitely shouldn't have been smoking the crack. Don't smoke crack, people.
Definitely don't smoke crack. Also, probably don't let your dog get a hold of crack.
Did you see that someone else said that there's the real question?
Yeah. And then the last comment was, good boy.
Oh, my goodness.
My dog robbed a crack dealer.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Oh, goodness. Okay. This one is from Boar Updates.
Boar Updates.
BORU dates. Updates. Boru dates. Updates.
Best of Reddit updates.
Oh.
Jesus.
I was just trying to figure out what it meant. Yes, but it's a different best of Reddit updates than what I just read off of.
Right, because it's Boar Updates.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It really is. Look at it.
I mean, I believe you.
Look.
I see it.
Okay.
Yeah, capital B, capital O, capital R.
Capital U. Dates.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
Jesus.
There is also a trigger warning on this one: emotional and verbal abuse, public humiliation, and bullying.
Oh, my favorite things.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Don't put that out there. That's really fucked up. Okay. The first one was posted 6 months ago. Am I the asshole for refusing to go to my sister's wedding after she publicly humiliated my son? A few months ago, my sister, let's call her Jane, got engaged and started planning her wedding. Jane is 37 years old. Growing up, we were always close, sharing secrets and supporting each other through life's ups and downs. However, Jane has always had a tendency to be backhanded and passive-aggressive. She would make snide remarks under the guise of concern, and after often find subtle ways to belittle me or others. Despite this, I, 34 female, always try to maintain a good relationship with her, believing that deep down she cared for me. This all came to a head during a recent family gathering at Jane's house. My son, Liam, who is 7 years old, has a bladder issue that sometimes causes him to have accidents. We've been working with his doctor and trying our best to manage it, but it's a sensitive topic for him. During the gathering, Liam had an accident. He was embarrassed, and I was in the process of helping him clean up when Jane noticed. Instead of understanding or discreet, Jane loudly pointed it out in front of everyone. She said things like, "How disgusting, and at his age, this is unacceptable." She even went as far to say that Liam should be ashamed of himself and criticized 7 with a bladder issue. And criticized me for not getting him under control. Her comments made Liam burst into tears, and I quickly took him home to comfort him. As I was gathering our things to leave, Jane came over, still clearly upset. She asked me why I was leaving. I looked at her, trying to keep my voice calm for Liam's sake. "Jane, I think it's best if we go home. Liam is very upset right now." Jane rolled her eyes at me. "Oh, come on, it's just an accident. He needs to learn how to handle these things better. You can't just coddle him forever." The patience was wearing thin, but I tried to explain again. "Jane, Liam has a medical condition. We're working with doctors, and this is a sensitive issue for him. Your comments just now were very, very hurtful. I was just telling the truth. He needs to toughen up. You're not doing him any favors by babying him." At this point, I was furious, but I didn't want to escalate the situation in front of Liam. I took a deep breath and said, "We'll talk about this later, Jane. Right now, I need to take care of my son." Without waiting for a response, I gathered Liam and headed to the car. On the drive home, I couldn't shake the image of Jane's face and her harsh words. This wasn't the first time she has made Liam feel bad about his condition. Each time, I had hoped she would understand and show some empathy, but it seemed like she was only getting worse. The next day, I called Jane to talk about what had happened. This conversation is from what I can remember. I wanted to explain again, away from the heat of the moment, and hope she would see reason. "Jane, about yesterday, I need you to understand how much your words hurt Liam. He's already struggling, and your comments made him feel worse." Instead of apologizing, Jane was very defensive. "I'm not going to apologize for telling the truth. You need to stop coddling him, and he needs to learn to deal with the real world." Her response was like a punch to the gut. I had hoped for some empathy, some understanding, but it was clear she wasn't going to give it. "Jane, I don't think you understand how serious this is. He has a medical condition. It's not something he can just toughen up from." She told me, "Look, I have a wedding to plan. I don't have time for this drama." When Jane's wedding invitation went out, I received one, but I felt conflicted. On one hand, she is my sister, and it's a significant event in her life. On the other hand, I couldn't forget how she humiliated my son and her refusal to apologize. After much thought, I decided to decline the invitation. I didn't feel comfortable celebrating with someone who had been so cruel to my child. When Jane found out, she was livid. She accused me of trying to ruin her special day and called me petty and overdramatic. Some family members sided with her, saying I should let it go for the sake of family harmony, while others understood my decision and supported me. This wasn't the first time Jane had done something like this. She has a history of making hurtful comments about Liam's condition and generally lacks sensitivity when it comes to his medical issues. Each time I've tried to address it calmly, hoping she would eventually understand and be more considerate. Unfortunately, she never changes, and her behavior continues to hurt my son. Jane has been blowing up my phone, including other family members. Now I'm left questioning if I'm the asshole for refusing to go to my sister's wedding. I don't want to cause family drama, but I also feel strongly about standing up for my son. This wedding is just the latest incident in a long line of hurtful behavior from Jane, and I'm not sure how much more I can take. Am I the asshole for refusing to go to my sister's wedding after she publicly humiliated my son?
No.
No.
Not even in the slightest. If Jane had a son who had a medical issue that led to accidents like this or anything else, seizures, anything like that, and OP made shit of him or her.
In front of everybody, he's 7.
Right. It's not like, it's not like he's a toddler that, pissed his pants or had a fucking temper tantrum. Like, temper tantrums, yeah, I can understand somebody being like, you need to fucking get a hold of your kid.
To a point, it also depends because let's say that they're autistic or something and they're overstimulated or, anything along those lines. You don't know what's going on with these people's lives. And if you do and you still act that way, you're just a piece of shit. Like this, like Jane is. Because fuck her.
Well, I agree.
Instead of helping him and helping her sister, like she should have, as a good aunt would, believe me, I know I'm a good aunt, and I would have helped them. She decides to berate this child in front of everybody. Everybody. And he should be ashamed of himself.
Yeah, like
no, fuck that. Fuck her.
It just doesn't make any sense.
And fuck the family members who are backing her.
Right.
Fucking keep the peace. No, fuck the peace.
Well, also, like, how the fuck is she ruining her wedding by not showing up?
Right.
Wouldn't it be, according to Jane, wouldn't it be ruining her fucking wedding if she showed up with her son?
And he had an accident?
Yeah. Oh, he's such an embarrassment. Well, go fuck yourself.
Well, and the thing is, it doesn't sound like she was in Jane's wedding. So you're not ruining anything. She even RSVP'd that she wasn't going.
Right.
She did what she needed to do as an invited guest.
Right. Which half the fucking people at a wedding, I can attest to this, don't RSVP or RSVP that they're coming and then they don't show up.
Yep.
So good for her for actually saying, hey, like, I'm not coming.
Right.
She didn't do anything wrong.
No, not at all.
And good for her for having the backbone to protect her child from bullshit like that.
Top comment. You need to do more as his parent. We're no longer attending gatherings with Jane owing to the negative impact she has on my son.
Read that sentence again.
I think it's supposed to be like, we're no longer attending gatherings with Jane due to the negative impact she has on my son. They put the wrong word in, and it totally messed me up. Yeah, owing to negative impact she has on my son.
That does make sense.
Okay, it just confused me. Response to that, not from OP, but it says this, and keep it going like a broken record. Every time the family tries the just keep the peace mantra, the moment you show up, you aren't going to be the one to persuade to give in to Jane's behavior is the moment the rest of the family might actually start to tell Jane to sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up.
Ooh. Strong words. I approve.
I use fuck as a period, so I enjoy it.
Yes. Yeah, what a shitty aunt. Like, okay, now let's fast forward 5 years. So the kid's 12, 13. Well, now, like, what is Jane going to say when he doesn't want to come over and hang out with his aunt?
Right.
Well,
I would hate it if my sister's kids didn't want to hang out with me or your sister's kids didn't want to hang out with me. Like, I would fucking hate that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I pride myself on being the best aunt possible.
Uh-huh.
And I try to make it to every freaking event, every single thing that I can possibly make it to. Because they're my nieces and nephew. Like, be a better person. Another comment, I'd have slapped my sister over this. This shit is nasty. Not the asshole, but stop being around Jane for the sake of your son. Family event, if she's going, opt out. Your family will get the message. She's done this multiple times. Stop letting it happen.
Yep. Agreed.
Let me go back. Update 1.
How many updates are there?
2.
Okay. I thought you were going to say like 7 or something crazy.
No. And the the first update was posted about 5 hours after the initial post.
Oh, shit.
Hi, all. It's been a few hours since I made my first post. I wanted to say thank you for all the love going to my son, Liam. It truly means the world. I wanted to address some things. 1, the reason I bring Liam to these gatherings is because he loves his cousins. He enjoys spending time with family. I think they're other people's kids.
What do you mean?
Because cousins, so I wonder if they're her sister's kids or if she has other siblings.
Oh, okay. I got you.
2, Liam doesn't like wearing pull-ups or diapers of any form. This is why I haven't necessarily been using them. Now to further update. I've talked to Liam about what happened. I told him it wasn't his fault at all and that his Aunt Jane was being very rude and inconsiderate. I told him that he's an amazing boy and to never let anybody say otherwise. My son was very happy to hear this. He told me that what Jane said to him hurt his feelings a lot, and I completely understood. I asked him if he wanted to continue to go to these family events. He said no. I fully support his decision. My son comes first, and the comments have helped me realize that I've let Jane walk all over me with the fear of causing a tear in the family. Now, I'm going little to no contact with Jane. I'll send her the occasional holiday message, but that's it. I cannot be around someone who hurts my son. I felt as if I was failed as a mom. I had failed as a mom, and comments have truly opened my eyes, so thank you all. As for the people in my family who supported my sister, I've blocked them all. I refuse to allow people who agree with her mentality to be involved in my son's life. I love my son with all my heart, and I would do anything for that little guy. I think that I should have put a stop to it sooner, and I regret not doing that. However, I know that I can be a better mom, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I messaged the family that was contacting me in a mass group chat, and I told them that we would no longer be coming to any family events. If they wanted to see my son, they would have to come individually, or the event would have to be hosted by me. I also told them that my sister's behavior needs to be fixed because that was the reason our family is being torn apart, not because I'm not going to her wedding, but because she decided to make fun of my child. My mother is on my side and fully supports my decision. My father is still stuck in the middle, and for that I think I should go low contact with him too. I'm going to keep in touch with you all and keep the updates coming whenever I can. All I know is that even if she gives my son the apology he deserves, I want nothing to do with her, and I don't want her around my son.
Well, and props to her for asking Liam, like, hey, do you want to go over there?
Yeah, because if he feels uncomfortable,
right,
then he shouldn't be put in a situation where he feels uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
That should never happen.
Absolutely.
And the fact that she is standing up for her child now, even if she didn't know how to do it before, makes her a good mom.
Well, yeah, there's not a how-to book on this shit.
Mm-hmm.
So
no.
Good for her for figuring it out.
Top comment on that. Thanks for the update, OP, and best of luck. You are a wonderful mother to Liam.
Agreed.
Well done. We let rude big mouths like your sister get away with too much for too long, just because it's easier and less drama to let it go. Stand up for your son as you have admirably. The good people will stick with you. The rest, good riddance, not the asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And last update is 6 months after the original update. So it was posted 3 days ago. So very, very fresh. Hi, everyone. It's been a couple of months since I made my update post, so I figured I should update once more if anyone is still interested. My sister Jane got married on December 4th, and it has been such a roller coaster. I did not go to the wedding, nor did I go to any after parties or gatherings they had. I'm not at all interested in any of their plans. From what I heard, red wine was spilled on her dress, which in turn ruined the photos. Karma's a bitch. Anyways, I ended up taking Liam to the mall and just spent the entire day with him. I bought him some new Lego sets, clothes, and basically everything he wanted. My boy deserves to be spoiled. Before anyone asks, yes, he still has his bladder issue. However, yes, we managed to get him used to wearing pull-ups and other things to manage his accidents. A lot of people sent me messages regarding certain things to use, and honestly, it really helped a lot. I checked a few of them before I logged out of this account. It wasn't easy getting him used to the change, but Liam understood that it was for the best and learned to use them. He hasn't really complained about anything so far. Now, the big question is, what's going on with my sister? Like I said, she got married and all, blah, blah, blah. According to her maid of honor, she was a real bridezilla. So glad I wasn't there. I feel bad for her fiance. He's a really nice guy. I'm still no contact with her or anyone in the family that supported her. My mother has been my rock. It hasn't been that hard to adjust, actually. My father has been cut off as well. My father and I never got along, so it isn't a loss for me. I fully believe that he is the reason my sister acts the way she does. My sister has tried to reach out to me a couple of times. Most of them were just her berating me for not going to the wedding, and the others were half-assed apologies. I could honestly care less about what she says. I read Liam some of the comments, and guys, you made him the happiest little boy on earth. His birthday was actually 4 days ago, January 22nd. He is now 8 years old. We had a nice Lego themed party for him. He loves Legos. My mom and a few cousins were invited, along with his school friends. He had an accident during the party, but finally, no one was there to berate him for something he can't control. Liam is great. He says hi and thank you for everything. I'm also saying thank you for anything. If anything in the future happens, I'll be sure to update you guys. But for now, this seems to be it. Love you all and thank you for the support.
A solid update.
Yeah. And the thing is, he can't control what's happening to him. But it seems like he's doing the best he can at now 8 years old,
Right.
dealing with it. You know, and it's just, yeah. Top comment. Happy birthday for Liam. I've got boys similar ages. It's tough enough for them at this age, and having a legit medical problem thrown on top can't be easy. He deserves all the love and support in the world, not the callous, real talk of an ignorant snob.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Just a quick thought, and maybe someone else has already said this. If your son starts bemoaning having to wear pull-ups, maybe if he knew there was an industry devoted to grown-ups as well who have bladder issues, he'd feel less weird about it. Unless it's just the feeling of pull-ups he doesn't like, then never mind. That's good
nice.
little snippet. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, of course.
Someone responded to that, said, I second this. I was embarrassed about my issues, but then one day a nurse told me it's far more common than you think. If it wasn't, they wouldn't sell them in the main aisles in supermarkets.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So hopefully this kid he's going to be way better off not having that aunt around him.
Absolutely.
Not at all.
All right. Ooh. I got me a big one here, huh?
It's pretty long.
Holy shit.
Sorry.
It's okay. I'm ready.
I gave you the one small one I had.
Okay, this one is from RAITAH from 7 months ago. Am I the asshole for cutting off my sister and her family after what her daughter said? Excuse me. I, 28 female, invited my sister, 40 female, and my niece, 17 female, over for a pool party that my husband and I were hosting. We had a few friends over and many brought their kids. For background, my husband and I don't have kids and are undecided on whether or not we want any, but always find something for us to do where our friends who do have kids feel included. Although we keep things pretty kid-friendly, we still always serve alcohol at our get-togethers. Nothing too crazy, just some beers and seltzers. My sister wasn't able to stay for long as she had to work later in the night. I told her since her 17-year-old and her 12-year-old were having fun that they could stay the night and I would take them home in the morning. She let them stay, and about 2 hours later, my 17-year-old niece tells me her mom wants her home and to look for a ride from someone else because I was drinking. I only had one drink earlier that day while setting up for the party hours ago. I let the girls leave with my friends since they lived in the same neighborhood. I texted my sister and confronted her why she asked the girls to look for a ride home. She then told me that my 17-year-old niece told both her parents that everyone at the party was smoking weed, getting drunk, and offering her both of those substances, that she felt too uncomfortable to stay. It was a small get-together of around 15 adults and their kids. Nobody was smoking, and absolutely nobody offered her anything. Most of my friends had watched her and her siblings growing up, so it wasn't like they were strangers to my sister or her kids either. Everyone there had their kids or work in respectful positions, including myself. I work in law enforcement, and something like that rumor could cost me my job or even one of my guest jobs or kids. My sister then told me that she doesn't think what her daughter said was untrue, and that my niece even told her that my friends and I did nothing but talk bad about my sister behind her back after she left. Again, another lie. My brother-in-law then became involved and told me that it was no place for him to say who is saying the truth, as everything was all he said, she said, and that he's sorry that I'm upset. I was livid to find out that my niece would not be disciplined for spreading such rumors, and they would even believe something like that. I was always the first person they would call to control any situation where my niece and her parents would be fighting or she would run away. They would call me to go pick her up because they couldn't handle her attitude anymore. So tell me, Reddit, am I the asshole for letting my sister know that I will be distancing myself from her and her family? Edit. Thank you for all of your comments. We do have cameras in our pool area, and I will be showing and sending footage to both my sister and brother-in-law. Also, they both work in law enforcement as well, and do know what these types of accusations can do to mine and my husband's careers. Another detail to add is that they themselves have been contacted by the school for accusations my niece has said about them and vice versa, where they had to contact teachers for something my niece accused them of as well. I understand being a parent and standing by your child's side, but when they've had to deal with this situation before, last edit. 1. My niece is in therapy and it has been for a couple of years. It was suggested by her school counselor and her parents found a therapist and she sees them like once or twice a month. She has a really bad perception of therapy as her parents say therapy does not work and is only for crazy people, and now she seems to have the same perception. 2. Not everyone in law enforcement is a cop, lol. I work more in the clerical side of my department. I'm finishing up school to be more in the psychology side of things, whereas my sister and brother-in-law work more hands-on with inmates. 3. I told my sister about the cameras and emailed her any and all footage from the backyard and front. She then told me that I was being overdramatic with the whole situation and that we all know her daughter lies. I reiterated how lies like that could cost me or my job or my friend's job, and she said, it's not like you have a real law enforcement job. She said that she doesn't feel like an apology is necessary. I didn't feel like fighting anymore and decided that NC, no contact, would be the best for now. Number 4. Throwing this in here since it's on the same topic. I spoke with my brother, 26 male, about the situation. Growing up with 3 older sisters, he always knew how to stay out of the drama and be neutral with all of us. He lives a state away and we don't have much contact besides the occasional how are you texts. I told him about the situation and asked how he would handle it. Come to find out, she did the same to him at my wedding about 8 months ago. My brother works with kids and that could have cost him his job as well. My niece told her parents my brother was sneaking her drinks and they believed her, even though they were at the wedding as well. He said he went no contact after that since he didn't think the drama was worth it as he lives a whole state away and doesn't really come visit unless it's for Christmas, which he didn't this past year, but we all thought it was because he had just been out of town, just been in town for my wedding. So, am I the asshole for letting my sister know that I will be distancing myself from her and her family?
Not at all. I'm sorry. If you know that your child lies, why are you believing her?
Right.
With anything.
That was the huge thing in there.
With anything.
Yeah. She then told me I was being overdramatic with the whole situation and that we all know her daughter lies.
Right.
Okay. So then what the fuck?
So then why are you going to believe her in this instance, and why would you believe her in the brother's instance?
Right.
It could ruin a lot of people's lives with what this girl is saying. She is 17. She is almost an adult. And if she keeps this up, like, she's going to run into some real trouble.
Well, and that's the thing. You can only cry wolf so much.
Right. And I'm sorry, but no, therapy is not going to work if your parents are in your ear telling you, oh, it's a crock of shit. It's not going to work. It's only for crazy people, which it's not.
Right.
Normal people go to therapy all the time.
I agree. I mean, shit, I went. I wasn't that normal.
I've never been, but I've thought about it.
It helps. I mean, it's not for everybody, but it definitely helps.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people who have been in therapy who advocate for therapy. I advocate for therapy. I may not be in therapy because, anxiety of actually going and doing those things, but the thought's there.
Right.
Like, I really do think that she needs to distance herself. She has done everything she can as an aunt. And then now she's being dragged through the mud. And she may not be a cop or something, but that doesn't mean she's not in law enforcement. There's a lot of different law enforcement jobs out there. Like, you don't have to deal with inmates to be in law enforcement.
I agree. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's investigation, fucking all the other shit.
And I mean, even if she deals with like the lawyers or whatever, that's still part of law enforcement.
Yeah, there's 100 different categories.
Yeah.
I mean, just like any other job, though.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so I'm a soil sampler. Mm-hmm. Not everyone that works for SoilView is a fucking soil sampler. Right.
Well, that's like, I work with imports. I know people who work with exports. I used to work with exports. There's bookings. There's tracking. There's order management. There's dispatching. There's like so much that goes into my job, and we all have different titles.
Right.
But just we're all under the same umbrella.
Right. Look at like UPS. You've got loaders, unloaders, mechanics, fucking drivers. CEOs. I mean, you have
got
from the
everything.
bottom all the way to the fucking top.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what a shitty thing to
No,
say.
I would definitely distance myself unless they can get their child under control, or, I mean, have a come to Jesus moment and realize that their child is doing some shit.
Right. So here's a thread of comments I'm going to read. I kind of scanned over these while you were giving your part. So first comment and top comment, it says, not the asshole, and I would not be alone with the niece ever again. A response to that, from the context, it sounds like the niece is a problem already, running away and fighting parents. Response, yep, and the parents gave up actually parenting her a long time ago, or trying to solve her existing problems. And this is what I liked right here is, why didn't the parents ask the 12-year-old? They're not an infant. If such behavior was taking place, surely the 12-year-old would either be able to corroborate the 17-year-old or torpedo her lies. Unless the 12-year-old is as much of a delinquent as their sister, your sister and brother-in-law are being willfully blind and allowing their child to ruin relationships. Being in law enforcement, I'm sure you know you can record private interactions in your jurisdiction without the other party's consent. But I wouldn't be around the 17-year-old again without multiple witnesses or video evidence. What a toxic little liar, not the asshole. And then my guess is the 17-year-old threatened the 12-year-old. And another response is, as a younger sister, I can pretty much guarantee this.
I was going to say maybe the 12-year-old was scared of the 17-year-old.
Yeah. I mean, all of that makes sense.
These parents are just, they have their head in the sand.
Yeah.
It's easier to do that than to actually deal with what's going on in front of them.
Right.
But this girl is going to go down a really bad path if they don't do something.
Yep. Another good comment in there is, try to avoid the triangulation. Don't stick the 12-year-old in the middle of it. They're trying to avoid drama for good reasons, which I agree with that too.
I do.
That's not even a point that I thought about until I read that.
Well, and I could see if the parents were like, or the mom like went and talked to her somewhere else and was like, hey, like, I don't want to put you in the middle. I'm not going to say any names. I'm not going to tell her you told me anything, but like, what happened?
Right. But also, you know, if how long has this 17-year-old been acting like this?
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's something that the younger sibling is like grown up with or is used to, then what the fuck?
Well, and the thing is maybe the sibling just wants no part of it.
Right.
Wants no part of it. I mean, anytime there was ever drama when I was young, like, peace, I'm going to go sit in my room.
Right.
Like, I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. No.
Fucking kids.
Fucking kids. Okay. We have one more, and it is another heavy one. Today is very heavy with trigger warnings, content warning, trigger warning, however you want to call it, sexual assault, child sexual assault. I did not mean to make this a theme. Just happened. From 4 months ago, from Am I the Asshole? AITAH. Am I the asshole for cutting my family off after they told my kids how they were conceived? I, 25 female, have twin girls, 6 female. I love them more than anything, and I'm grateful for them. Don't get me wrong, but I do wish I had gotten pregnant very differently. Long story short, I was SA'd by a relative, 44 male, when I was 19. It was a terrible experience, and I tried to forget about it, but obviously I kept the babies. Unfortunately, I didn't really get a choice to have them in the first place, as when I found out I was in my second trimester, not that I would have gotten rid of them because they are my everything. Anyways, on to the issue. My parents usually babysit the girls after school while I'm at work, usually for about an hour or so. I also haven't been in contact with my sister since I was pregnant, as she told me I clearly wanted it. She's obviously not a good person, so I kept her out of mine and my daughter's lives as much as I can. The girls are doing a fun family tree project at the moment, and I told them that their dad did something very bad and was taken away a long time ago. I never went into detail. I didn't want to go into detail or keep them in the dark. They both were happy with my response and didn't even push on it. I obviously was going to tell them when they were adults so they could really understand what happened and why he is in jail and not in their lives. As mentioned, I don't talk to my sister, so my mom had the bright idea that while she was babysitting to invite my sister to see the girls since she hasn't seen them ever. While my dad went out, my sister went, then told the girls they look just like their dad. And the girls told her, no, we look like mom. And my sister told the girls, no, you look like your dad. The girls then asked, how do you know our dad? Have you seen him? And my sister told them, yeah, of course I have. I've seen them. But you should know that you are rape babies. When I come to pick up my daughters, they are calling each other our babies.
Hold on a second. These kids are 6?
6.
And the fucking sister said that you are rape babies?
The aunt, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I asked my mom where they had gotten that name because I was livid, and she told me she had no idea. So in front of my mom, I asked the girls, where did you learn that from? And they told me Auntie's sister's name told us that's what we are. I just stared at my mom in disbelief and grabbed the girls and went home. When we got home, I told them that was a very bad word and that they should never say that ever. It was a very uncomfortable situation for me. They asked me a lot of questions about where it came from and what it means, and I answered this child-friendly as I could and put them to bed. Once they were asleep, I messaged my mom saying that I will never trust her again and that she should have embraced today because this is the last time she'll ever see my children, and that goes to the rest of the family. My mom started messaging me full of excuses and everything and decided to just take the easy way. Block them and carry on. However, now I'm getting messages from my dad and my sister and mom all telling me that the girls were going to know one day and my sister was just ripping the Band-Aid off them. I, on the other hand, completely disagree and think they are 6 years old and don't need to hear anything vile like that.
Right.
And yeah, and my sister didn't explain anything to them, just was completely inappropriate and out of line as they are children. I told some friends, and they're telling me that although my sister went the wrong way about it, she didn't do the wrong thing. And with everyone telling me I'm in the wrong, I'm just so confused. Just some extra information. This happened on Friday last week, and I told my friends over the weekend. So, am I the asshole?
What the fuck? No.
Not at all.
Who the fuck is telling her that she's in the wrong?
Apparently her friends and her family.
What the fuck kind of friends and family do you have? Well,
right.
We know what fucking kind of family you have. That was not supposed to be rude. That fucking came out really rude. But, like, who the fuck does your sister think she is telling 6-year-olds
They're
this?
6. And the thing is there's age-appropriate ways of explaining things if they had questions.
Right.
And that is their mom's
I would
place.
not, if my fucking nieces were 16 years old, I would never use the term fucking rape babies.
Right. Like, who says that?
That is fucked up. That's not even something that I would say to an adult.
No, that's fucked. That's fucked.
And besides the point, it's not your fucking business.
And this is, mind you, the first time she met these children.
Yeah, what
she
the
had never
fuck?
met these kids before. And it'd be like, oh, you look just like your dad, da da da. This was a family member.
Oh my God.
Like, are you shitting me? Top comment, not the asshole. If they are calling each other our babies, they clearly didn't understand what it meant or the implications of it. This isn't the information you share with young children. And it isn't the information you share with someone else's children. The narrative was yours to set, not your sister's. What was she thinking? Shoot back at your friends, ask them, so what age is it appropriate to explain what rape is to a child, and watch them struggle to say 6 years old? Tell your parents that obviously you are mad right now and they have fundamentally broken your trust, and you will talk to them anytime in the future when it suits you. Your sister, I just block her outright. Done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the parents, yes, I could see that being reconciled in the future. Potentially even distant future. But the fucking sister, gone.
Yeah, fuck that. Someone responded to that and said, totally agree. Sister wanted the girls and their mother to feel bad. She took great delight in what she did.
What the fuck kind of person do you have to be to say that to a kid?
I don't know.
Maybe they're thinking, oh, well, they don't know what that means. It's okay to say.
No, because then they're going to go around saying this to other people.
Right.
And that's just fucked up. Because they don't even know what it means.
Right. Can you imagine a 6-year-old coming up to you and saying, I'm a rape baby?
I don't know if I I would probably be dumbfounded.
I would be too. I would immediately find
I would go to the
parent.
parents.
Yeah, like
or parent or whoever the hell it is,
like,
and be like, hey, something's going on with your child. This is what was said to me. I think this is something you need to deal with.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I mean, like,
we're both sitting here all wide-eyed. Like, it's not.
We really are. It's so fucking crazy.
I read this at work today while I was on my lunch break, and I was sitting there and I was shaking. I was pissed.
Oh my God. If there was ever a boundary to be crossed, the sister fucking went above and beyond.
She fucking flew across it.
That is crazy.
Not the asshole. Exactly. This is not the sister's information to share with the little girls. Actually, no one, not even the grandparents, have the right to have this decision with these little girls. For all the idiots thinking the sister had the right to rip off the bandage and share this information with the girls, I'm guessing they would be okay with OP ripping off the bandage and having the sex talk with their little ones.
Right.
After all, it has to happen sometime. It appears that just anyone can have these talks with anybody's kids. Absolutely no reason to let parents make major decisions about their own children.
How old were you when you truly understood what rape was?
That's a hard question.
It's probably different and hard for a lot of people, but to like fully grasp. It's also a little different because I'm a woman. Right.
So I do feel like it is brought into the conversation earlier than it is with men.
I can see that.
I would say I was coming out of elementary school, going into junior high, when I fully understood what was going on. So I would say between 11 and 12.
Yeah, preteen. Okay.
But yeah, I definitely think that it is brought up earlier with girls than men. I do think that the conversation with men is more of get permission, things like that.
Consensual talk.
Women, it's give permission. You can always take permission back. Like, this is what happens if this ever happens, tell someone kind of thing. Like, those are the conversations that are had. Mm-hmm. At least those are the conversations that were had with me.
Right. Which, I'm sure it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
But, like, for me to think back on it, I would guess I was probably a teenager, 13. I would say 13 I probably knew.
Right. And whether it be your parents or your friends, someone has told you. Right.
That is much more of an acceptable age to know what that is. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that OP like told her kids what rape is. Probably not. But for her sister to have gone there with her kids is completely unacceptable.
And then her parents would be like, oh, she's ripping off a Band-Aid. No, fuck you.
No, there is no Band-Aid for anyone to fucking rip off. That is a conversation strictly for the mother and her daughters.
And the mom is the one who went through this.
Right.
So why is this a conversation without her?
Exactly.
If she wanted to have this conversation, wanted to bring these people in on the conversation because she didn't quite know how to go about it, that's fine. But if she has any, you don't know what she's dealing with when it comes to this.
Well, she's mothering kids from that situation.
Right. That apparently look just like their father.
Right.
Like, that's fucked. And the fact that she can look past that and she can love these children with everything she has and she can be a great mom, it says a lot about who she is and her character.
Absolutely.
Especially when she was 19 when this happened.
That is so fucked.
Yeah. So she's 25.
Jesus.
So there is an update from 4 months ago. Firstly, I wanted to thank everyone for proving I'm not crazy. I've read majority of the comments and DMs that have received. Sorry, I just wanted to clear up a few things, and I'm going to be copying and pasting the messages I've received after I explain. 1, regarding my dad, I understand that a lot of you are saying I should have cut him off, but he was aware that my mom invited my sister over, and he went to the shops when it happened, so he wasn't that innocent. He knew fully well that I wasn't talking to my sister and was on board to invite her over and let her meet my twins. 2, I rounded up my twins' age. They are 5 and are turning 6 soon, and I am 25 at the end of the year, so I hope that clears the age up.
Wow.
People were really looking into that. Twins' biological father is my mom's brother. He has been inappropriate with me since I was 12. My family completely just ignored any time I tried to speak up.
Fuck.
4, my sister is 11 years older than me. She absolutely had no relationship with my mom's brother. She didn't even meet him until my court case because he lived in another country. And when he moved to my neighborhood, my sister was living independently and never came to any family events. Jesus. I'm going to copy and paste my sister's messages. My sister, you're going to be so dramatic over the entire thing. I'm allowed to say the truth, and if anything, you should be thanking me, not bashing me to our family. I'll pray for the girls because you are their mother, because you, as their mother, have no sense of responsibility to those girls. Always full of shit. You're clearly trying to project your issues onto me. I don't have time for it. Me. So OP. Yeah. You are the most vile person to date. I cannot fathom how you thought it was okay to tell my daughters that they are our babies. I think you need to go have a mental health evaluation because you need help. And don't you ever mention how I am as a mother when you don't have kids. I hope you get the help you need. My sister, how dare you throw my fertility in my face? You have no idea what it's like to have genuinely awful happen to you. You're a selfish bitch.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I'm not.
Oh my God.
Continuing with the sister, what she's saying. Fuck you, you're a slut. I don't need a fucking slut to start to fuck her own uncle talking about my business. I'll pray to God for you fucking bitch. OP. God knows how disgusting you are and is preventing you from having a child because God is no way would willingly let you be anywhere near any children. Suck my dick, you uneducated swine. Mind shit. You, her sister's 36. Like, the fuck are you doing? My parents' messages sums up is what I wrote in my last post and how I'm a disgusting daughter and sister for throwing my sister's issues in her face. Okay. I told my daughters that we can get a new house and I will paint their rooms any color of their choosing and they are quite happy to move. I think it's because they want a bluey themed room, but I'm not sure. I started looking at houses and hopefully will be accepted soon. Thank you so much for all the support. I genuinely appreciate it. I will update if anything happens. Edit. I blocked my sister after the conversation. I'm also currently in the process of changing my work emails and stuff like that, as that's how they are contacting me still. Another edit. When I found out I was pregnant, I was 24 weeks, so that's why I had them. Not much I could do. Also, my sister can not for the life of her spell, so she used speak to text when she's arguing, and we all know how Siri does not put what you say. Laughing emoji. Jesus. That's it. Like, are you fucking shitting me? Nothing ever terrible has ever happened to you.
That is the worst kind of fucking person.
She is a terrible person. That is a person that you don't want anywhere near you or your children or your life or anything.
Right.
Which she already knew because she already wasn't talking to her sister. That
is unfucking fathomable.
And the shit that she was saying to her.
Right. To me, all that shit's words. I mean, I know they're fucking very deep cutting words. I'm still more pissed off about what she said to them fucking innocent kids.
Right. You can say whatever you want to me. I'm an adult. I can handle it. Do not say shit to children. That is overstepping a very, very bold line right there.
You know, especially because OP rounded up their age. So when this happened, they were actually 5 years old. Mm-hmm. That is barely over a fucking toddler.
Yeah, barely. Barely.
Like,
they're probably barely potty trained.
Right.
They're just now pissing in a toilet. Like, the fuck, like, put that in perspective.
Right. And then to say those things.
Right.
That is not something that they should know or even give a fuck about until.
They're children.
Yeah.
Let them be children.
Yeah. Exactly.
They don't need to know any of that information. The fact that she said your dad did a bad thing, he was taken away a long time ago, and they were okay with that for right now. Eventually, there would be more questions, and eventually there would be more age-appropriate conversations that have nothing to do with how the aunt did this.
Right. Well, I kind of had to cut myself off there because I was going to say, like, until X age. That's not up to me to decide.
That's up to their brother.
I don't even want to put an age on that because I don't know those kids, and I don't know what would be appropriate for them. Every kid is different.
Yeah, and you don't want your children to be thinking that they're less than because of how they came into the world.
Exactly.
And luckily they didn't understand now, but eventually they will. And I remember shit from when I was 5, so I'm sure they will too. And that's fucked.
Yeah.
Because they'll remember that.
Well, and like I said, are they... I don't know if disciplined is the right word here, but I'm going to use it anyway for lack of better terms.
Mm-hmm.
But are they disciplined enough to not say that to other people?
It depends on how they're raised. It depends on the children. She sat them down and explained that it wasn't a good thing to say. It was a very bad thing to say. So hopefully they are.
Right.
Hopefully. If not, I'm sure she'll have to deal with that, unfortunately. Top comment, well, your sister has an amazing ability to turn a dumpster fire into something even more disgusting.
Agreed.
OP responded and said, yeah, and she will catch these hands if she goes anywhere near my daughters again. I'll tell you that much.
Fucking good, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised she didn't catch hands off the fucking bat.
Someone said, I would have used your womb is as poisoned as your personality, but I'm also evil that way.
That's a pretty good burn.
Then another person, my womb has a way of killing whatever tries to take hold, but let me tell you, I just cackled.
Jeez.
Sorry to hear about your womb, but glad you got a giggle. And then that person said, my womb just giggled out loud.
Oh my God. You should maybe get that checked.
The thing is I have my own fertility issues, and my brain never would have gone there.
Right.
She took that way, way, way too far, and then wants to talk about her fertility issues. You know what? That is a normal thing. A lot of women have fertility issues. A lot of people have fertility issues. What this other woman is going through, what OP is going through, is not normal. And she is doing the best she can.
Jesus.
And honestly, I don't blame OP for going in on her like that. Not one fucking bit.
Not even a little. Dude, fuck that bitch.
Fuck that bitch. Like that, she's fucked, dude. She's so fucked.
Jesus.
Your sister is vile, and so is anyone who even slightly supports her. I don't understand how your own family could do this to you, but I hate them for it. You are doing a great job, Mama. Hang in there.
Yep.
And the thing is this brings me back to what you said, I don't know, a couple episodes ago, where you're like, where do all of these people live? Like,
right. What the fuck is in the water?
Right. Like, do you guys just all live in a fucked up universe? Like, what is happening? A lot of people are telling her not to go to violence because she'll get arrested.
Hey, man. Sometimes violence is the answer. Yeah. I'm not promoting fucking going out and beating somebody to death. But if... I feel pretty strongly about this. I can't really put myself in OP's shoes. However, if I was in that situation and I was right there, like... I think I would probably fucking hit her. Yeah. Not as a man. I'm not saying I'm going to fucking hit a woman, but if...
Let's say you had a brother and he did some shit like that, you would hit him.
Yeah, absolutely. And you better fucking believe that he ain't fucking calling no goddamn cops. Like, you spouted off of the mouth and you fucking got hit.
Yeah. If my sister would never, but if my sister had done something similar to this, like anything, if I was in the situation or whatever... She would have gotten punched in the fucking face. And I'm leaving.
Right.
Goodbye. There is another comment. I'm pretty certain that your sister decided to do this because she's envious of the fact that you have children at all, and she doesn't. What a despicable excuse for a human being she is. And your family is just as complacent. Good riddance. If you have the resources, I would see if you could get your children in with a pediatric psychologist for a few sessions at the very least. They need help from a professional to truly understand why the word they were using was bad. And now that you know, you're going to grow up with that. I have a friend who was conceived the same way, and he heard the word from a family member via a very similar situation, and when he looked it up, he felt so much guilt that his birth meant his mom went through all that pain, and he started hating himself for it. It took years to fix that self-hatred. And this right here is why what she did is so fucked up.
Yep. Yeah, that's something that could affect those kids for the rest of ever.
And these kids didn't ask for this.
No.
OP didn't ask for this. they're just dealing with it.
Yep.
And the sister made it 10 times worse.
Fuck.
10 times worse.
Yep.
I don't think there's anything else with this OP, but I am going to double check. Just see. Sorry, Spike is passed out.
With his little tongue out.
Let's see. Nope, those are the only 2 posts that were ever made. It does look like OP comments back quite a bit. She does say that the uncle was sent to prison not long after the DNA test for the girls, because obviously you can't hide that. Yeah. Good for her. She's getting out.
Yeah. Jesus.
My daughters deserve the best, and even though I had a shitty traumatic childhood, I will do anything I can to make sure my girls have the best childhood they can, including going into debt to get away from these crazy people.
Fuck.
Yeah.
What a couple of heavy stories.
There was a couple heavy stories. I didn't mean for this episode to be so heavy. Was not my plan here.
Yeah, it happens.
But unfortunately, that is unfortunately things that I do feel like need to be talked about in this world.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, it happens more often than you'd like to think.
Agree.
So, hopefully you guys stuck through it. I know that it was pretty rough and pretty heavy, but hopefully we did it justice. If you guys have any of your guys' takes, give us, some comments, some likes, share our stuff, all the things. And we'll see you next week.
Have a good one.
Bye.